Interesting enough, there's some issues going on in shithole California. What's new? San Francisco. We talked about L.A. the other day and Seth Rogen's dumbass. But let's talk about San Francisco, which my good friend Gary is neurotic. Is got the fuck out of there, looking to be in Texas. It's a shithole, but it's a shithole because of policy. It's you've incentivized theft. You've made it essentially illegal in some areas to do anything to anybody stealing, retail theft under a certain amount of money. And that's created this atmosphere where people are now incentivized to steal shit and just walk out the door. And there has been a bunch of retail theft specifically that has happened in these recent years. And it's done nothing but increase. Now, this person, and we're going to read a guy from the Bay Area, and you got to, like, this is what's unique about, not just California. I think New York City gets some guys like this as well, New York. And there's some guys that are completely oblivious because they like to think that they are it's an interesting case because when you think and you believe that you are in the, like, upper echelon, you are the beacon of righteousness, of what is good, what people try to strive for, you then catch yourself defending dumb shit that happens in the area that you're in. Again, we saw that with Seth Rogen, who won't concede LA is a shithole, despite his car being broken in 15 times. And he's supposed to be in a nice area, right? 15 times, right? We go to the places where they think we live in a shithole in the South, Texas, Alabama, and so forth, where we live in relatively very nice areas. And yeah, we don't have our cars broken into fucking 15 times a year. But they have convinced themselves, and I think it's because of TV, and I think it's because of these cultures that that they are what people strive for. So they have to then legitimize the retarded shit that happens in their own spots because they think this is what people want. This is what people desire. So it's not actually that bad. This guy right here, here's the title. The GOP is blaming coordinated retail thefts on a 7-year-old Prop 47. Let's listen to what he's trying to say here. Allegedly, coordinated on social media last weekend's wave of smash and grabs at high-end retail stores setting Bay Area edge. But what officials describe as organized retail crime sprees aren't the only orchestrated attacks taking place. GOP politicians opened up the opportunistic playbook. This is a local paper, by the way, and started their favorite attack. California is under siege, and the left is to blame partly because of Proposition 47. Where's the lie? Where's the lie? You're talking about areas for like with San Fran. Yeah, you can. California was more red back in the day, but specifically San Fran, I don't think Republicans have ran that shit and had really any part of their city councils on up since I was alive, and that's 30 years. Maybe like right when I was born. They do this all the time. It's like Detroit, right? These Baltimore, these guys, once very prominent, lucrative, valuable cities, they run it to the ground, and they've been running them for 40 years. Right? Right? Like, and then somehow they run it, and then it's like, well, it's not us to blame. Who the fuck the problem is it then? If you have been in direct control for decades and it's gotten worse, how you gonna put it on the other guys, man? And this is referring to Proposition 47, which voters approved in 2014. The initiative raised the dollar amount by which theft could be prosecuted as a felony from $400 to $950. So just basically, this is what they have said. You can't do shit to these people legitimately if they steal less than $1,000 at a time. That doesn't mean they won't go unpunished, but hey, you just gonna slap me on the wrist, well, shit. And then you strap, this is California, remember? So God forbid the security, they got security and they react. Well, no, you now the criminal, right? So basically they've incentivized bad behavior. And y'all know theft is one of my pet peeves. So what does a 7-year-old initiative have to do with allegedly coordinated retail thefts in the Bay Area? The right is using it as a smokescreen for a power grab, one that seeks to regress California to a Reagan-era police state. The first step is to take people's rational fears about public safety and inflame them beyond reason. Okay, what the fuck is this guy going on? Let's continue on. In a commentary this summer, the Daily Breeze newspaper in Los Angeles County's South Bay region, failed conservative gubernatorial candidate Larry Elder opined that Proposition 47 has given thugs free rein to calmly carry out whatever they want from a store. And November 22nd, fundraising email, the party said Prop 47 is one example of why Democrats are the party behind crime and chaos, not law and order. More recently, Republican Assembly member Kevin Kiley of Rockland described Prop 47 as a disaster from the start. Over the years, a few studies have tested these claims. They love to do this, right? When some couldn't be any more obvious, they love to, we're going to roll out our academics, right? We're going to roll out our academics, and we roll these academics out, and they're going to prove to you by way of using numbers and fucking shit and moving shit around. They're going to be able to prove to you that it's actually not because of our policies. It's because of something else. Prop 47, a 2017 study by the Center of Juvenile and Criminal Justice, and a 2018 one by UC Irvine of Social Ecology. That is a fake thing, social ecology. Both determined this to be false. Basically, we said it was incorrect because our academics, our handlers told us it was incorrect. It's like math studies with mannequins. You can't disagree with that. Any fluctuations in a local city's crime rate was more than likely due to the result of local policies rather than state policy reform. So what are lukewarm attacks on Prop 47 really about? They aren't based on shoplifting data, according to the Chronicle analysis. There isn't any data. There isn't data enough out there for people to make sweeping conclusions one way or another. Okay. Let's backtrack. Prop 47, among other laws, which basically incentivize people to steal. And since then, crime has gone up regarding theft. But you don't have enough data available. You got enough data to prove. So let's also put this in a perspective. They got enough data to prove that it's not because of Prop 47 and other things, but they don't have enough data to prove what the actual problem is. It actually is. So they can basically rule out one thing, but they can't actually describe what the problem actually is, what's causing it. They don't have and possess the mental capacity to do exactly that. And he goes on to talk about basically a bunch of bullshit. The Chronicle's Rachel Swan reported Prop 47 didn't stop the office from San Mateo County District Attorney Stephen blah, blah, blah from using conspiracy arguments to bolster a felony possession of stolen property case. People who were allegedly planning to participate in organized theft. Prosecutors say that basically they approached with a retail theft case in Walnut Creek. Shoplifter stole $200,000 worth of merchandise. See, this is my thing with leftists. While I can agree, and it's like, I think this is, if we can convince people, which is a tall order, how stupid they are and how stupid the people that they generally vote and support are, and delegitimize those systems, we can get to the nitty gritty, because obviously the people that you guys continue to support are fucking retards. But yes, while I'm not the fan of the police, I've made that abundantly clear. It's one thing to, because in a free society, if you will, free geographical area, obviously theft would be punished. You would not be incentivized to steal from people. Those are some of the most egregious crimes that you can commit because it's an actual crime. There is an actual victim there. But what the left has done has, of course, demonized property, and it's as just that, right? It's just property. It's just stuff. So why would we ruin, they think of it like, why would we ruin someone's life because they stole something? Now, I'm of the opinion, fuck those people. Okay? I have a cousin that's in jail. You've heard me talk about this. It's actually the case for, if you listen to my song on the mixtape, this Junior song, that's who I'm talking about. I have a cousin who's in prison right now because two guys ran in his car, stole everything from the seats out the motherfucker. He chased them down. They got out the car. He earthed their ass out. One ended up dying. The other guy lived. And, of course, his family, oh, it's just stuff. How could they do such a thing? We've lost our poor baby. Our poor baby got his ass shot because he wouldn't stole from a motherfucker. And now my cousin is in prison. We're going to see what happens going out in the next year. My cousin is in prison because of that. Like, not even joking. This is a true story. I was infuriated because all it does was present this shit that property is just stuff and people can steal from you and you can't do nothing about it. You can't do anything because if you react, you got to depend on the police to do something because God forbid if you react. And by the way, it's not even that because my cousin was a cop. He wasn't on duty. That didn't do him any good. The right to private property doesn't exist if you can't defend yourself from it. You forfeit, and this doesn't matter what it is, right? If something as egregious as theft, you forfeit. You cannot fall back on. And, people talk about like this whole proportionality thing. See, we talk about proportionality when we talk about what your punishment is. That's when we discuss that. But in the event and in the heat of the battle where you done stole something, no. We don't sit up here and try to figure out what your next move is as a thief. We don't try to do any of that. No, we defend our private property rights. And if that ends up with you getting aired the fuck out, you did that, not me. And this is why GOP has never been what the left presents them as, because the GOP has been chicken shit on private property rights and chicken shit on gun rights a lot. It's funny they mentioned Reagan. Even Reagan can get away with passing sort of these and supporting federal gun laws. And the Republicans were like, that supported him like, oh, Reagan's the best fucking guy in the fucking world, right? Because they're chicken shit on this subject matter, okay? But in these areas, right, where, and generally you see it has gotten worse, because in these areas where they have allowed people, and what I mean by allow, I mean it's like, if you are a thief, look at it through that lens, right? And it's look at it through the human action lens, the incentive lens. You're a bum, right? A fucking loser, piece of shit. But the state has said, you know what? You're not going to be punished. We're going to tie the hands behind the backs of the business owner, the owner of the property. It doesn't even matter what it is. Business, home, doesn't matter. We're going to tie their hands behind their back in terms of what they could do to you, right? And we're going to only give you a slap on the wrist in the event that you steal in either this way or in this amount. Of course, you're going to get more of it. Those people are already pieces of shit. They're willing to risk a minor charge in the event that it means that they could get away with stealing all of this shit. Okay? And that's why you get more of it. It's not about, oh, this hard law and order. No, it's simply about the enforcement of private property. and the rights that every individual on this earth have when they are born on this and in this earth and on this earth and living, right? We're not talking about fake crimes without a victim, right? And this is why I would never side with leftists, even on the drug war situation, because they're only against the drug war because of who they think is being discriminated upon in its enforcement, right? That's the only reason they're against it, right? Most guys like myself, libertarians, it's about, okay, there's a guy, you might demonize what it is that he does, but he's not committing a crime if he's like, I don't know, smoking weed, right? Yet you're willing to send that person off to fucking jail for the rest of his life, depending on what strike he's on. That's fucking nonsense, right? That's one thing. If the left, if they thought we were all getting our asses whooped by the police or we were all being imprisoned equally, they would have no issues with those laws because they're not approaching it from the actual fact of private property rights. They're approaching it from the fact of, okay, we think there's a disparity here, right? Oh, it unfortunately impacts black people more and therefore it's bad. Not, okay, there's no victim in this crime. It's completely arbitrary. The state just said it as one, right? This is why the same people, for example, that want to defund the police have no issue sending the cops on your ass in the event that you are somewhere that has a mask requirement and you ain't got it on. And in some of those areas, the cops have no problem enforcing them because they're not principled in their stance. I would suggest if you live in these areas all rights extend from it. This is what you need to understand. I would encourage you to read the great Murray Rothbard and his positions on this. All rights are private property rights. There exists no human rights that aren't private property rights related because it starts with yourself and the fact that you own yourself and therefore your body. Not that someone else can own you. That's an act of aggression. That you own yourself and therefore your own body, right? All legitimate rights. They're not granted by the state. They're not granted by the government. They are these are rights that you have. If you believe in the creator like I do, you got it or you don't. But your mere existence, and from these rights extend private property. From all rights, private property rights are. They extend from that, right? So in the event that you have people that are willing to be flaky on that situation, and you have governments that are then enforcing that, I would encourage you to either fight like a motherfucker to get rid of those, to stop them from happening, or getting the fuck out and getting in an area where at the utmost, at least the highest, no matter where you're at on this world, the enforcement is upon the private property rights. Once that gets devalued, you're fucking done. You're done. You're in a shithole at that point. And slowly but surely, the left has acted as you saw what happened in the summer of love in 2020. The mostly peaceful protests. People got mad at me. Well, man, you sound like you're the straw man, right? You're more worried about property than you are about police killing black people. Shut the fuck up, you fucking dumbass. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I more consistently defend acts of aggression, or rather defend the people who have aggression upon them by way of the state more consistently than any fucking leftist ever has. I talk about it year round, not just when it's convenient and the fucking CNN told me to be mad at something, right? You chicken shit bitch. Nonetheless, when you ask me, and I'm going to end on this note, when you ask me, so you're saying that you value property over the life of another human being in the event that they're stealing from you? Yes! And you know who else valued my property over his own life? The motherfucker who went out of his way to try to steal from me. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.